There are more job openings in the U.S. than ever recorded before. According to the Labor Department, the economy had more than 10 million openings in the month of June, up from 9.5 million in May. And last month, LinkedIn saw a 113% spike in job openings in this country compared with a year ago. Now, LinkedIn career expert Catherine Fisher joins us now with some tips on getting the job you want out of that 10 million that are available. And Catherine, I was really struck by this survey that LinkedIn did, finding that what people are looking for is not necessarily pay. In fact, that's fourth on their list. So what do they want and how do they get it?
So what they want really is flexibility. And what's happened is that over this last year and a half, people have redefined what's most important to them. And flexibility is becoming one of the most exciting things.
More than pay.
Yes, yeah, more than pay, health and benefits, culture. So this really shows you that this is why companies are really trying to react to this. So when you're looking for that job, it's going to be really important to make sure that if flexibility is the most important thing to you, how are those companies really addressing that need of yours?
I felt that when I was younger, I cared about pay. But now when you get older, I do care more about flexibility and time. I do think that that's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe they'll move the hours of this show to 11 to 1. Well, we have warnings in the title.
Yeah,
so.
that would be so great. That would be so great.
So how do you put a resume together to get the job you want once you realize this is it?
Yeah, you really want to lead with those skills. So what's happening is, companies are wanting to make sure that you can do the job, but you also want to show those soft skills. So how do you do the job? They're assuming that if you're applying for it, you kind of check most of the boxes. So make sure you're looking at that job description and that you include those skills. Another one that may not be so obvious, but is really important is check for typos. You would not believe how many people have typos.
Yeah.
So that is your best foot forward. So make sure you're doing everything to look great.
What should you leave off the resume?
I would say probably your salary requirements. And here's another thing not to do is don't leave just like a full job description for every position you've had.
Right.
What you want to do is really show like the accomplishments that you had in those roles. So did you, instead of saying I managed the front office, you can say I put in systems that, improved productivity by 10%. That really shows that what you've accomplished in those roles.
One of the tricky moments of every job interview is when the interviewer says, "Do you have any questions for me?"
Yes.
You better come up with a question.
Come up with something, yeah.
I never think it's good to say, nope, don't have any question. You think of something. I've often heard, too, that people make a decision about you the first 3 seconds. You walk in the door, your picture clicks on. First impressions always make you don't get a second chance to make a first impression.
Yes.
So what's the main thing you think that grabs people right away and says, I like him, I like her?
It's having really intuitive questions for the interviewer. So making sure that as you're going in there, they're interviewing you, but you're also interviewing them. So they want to make sure that you're really interested in this role and want to learn more about it. And I would always ask questions like, how do you measure success? What are the team dynamics? Do you work collaboratively or is it more siloed work? So really probing about what it's like to work there and then illustrating the skills that you have. So if you've made it to the interview, they know that you can do the job, but really show examples of how you do that work.
So many of these job interviews now are Zoom interviews. They're virtual. Any tips for handling those? Because they feel different. You can't make a connection as easily.
Yeah, so this is going to sound awkward, but try to make that connection. Look at the camera. And you don't want to be like in the side, primping your hair. That's a real dead giveaway. So make sure that you're looking at that camera so that you feel that connection. Make sure that your background is nice and clean so that it's not distracting. Because what you want is you want them to be focused on you and your story, not what's going on behind you.
All really good advice. Catherine Fisher, thank you so much for being with us on a hot job market.